Welcome to Hope is Here. My name is Greg Horn, and we have just had a wonderful week talking with Anathi, the Good Samaritan School in New Delhi, India. It's our first program based on a wonderful international ministry here at Hope is Here, and I've just kind of asked God to provide the right people to encourage and give hope. And man, I've been encouraged and really had my hope taken to a new level, seeing what God has done and taking a school that started just out of Anathi's house of a child coming from the slums wanting something to eat, and word obviously spread that, hey, there's food, and several kids coming, and yet Anathi, instead of wanting to enable people, said, I know I need to do something besides just give them food. And she is an educator by trade and her vocation, and so she started to, if they wanted something to eat, they had to come to school. Their parents helped do some work, and then they got to learn, and then next thing you know, they're meeting in basically like a urinal, a large bathroom. I'm not saying it justice, but you can imagine in India. And so you're talking about a stench where they started this school because it outgrew her garage. But I can't do it justice in this time, and we want to get to the just what really happened now that the program's open. But you can go to our website, hopeishere.today, and hear our first 3 programs. They're only 14 minutes long. Please go listen. You would be so blessed to hear about how God started this school in New Delhi, India, that is faith-based. All right, so honestly, you went through all kinds of hoops and overcame so many obstacles, and we just saw God work through fasting and prayer and just sacrifice. And the best part is, selfishly, there's a Lexington connection, First Southern Bank, Jess Carell here in Central Kentucky, Dan Lewis, and then Lexington Christian Academy, and then other churches got involved, and Leslie Littrell's going to be joining us. But you finally got to open your school. So Tell us what is going on now at that school, how many students, what you guys offer. Tell us what's happening now there at the Good Samaritan School.
Now we have 64 classrooms in that school.
64?
Classrooms.
Wonderful.
In the school. And we have 1,500 children.
1,500
children. Along with that, we have 3 smaller schools in Delhi, which will collect the slum children and then feed into the school. So altogether, we have 4 schools in Delhi and 3 schools in tribal areas, very backward tribal areas. So those children are also learning and coming to know the Lord and getting good first-class education. And we try to provide them the best facility. People say, why should you provide all the facilities for the slum children? I say the slum children need more facilities because others have facilities at home. But these children don't have anything. So we have digital classrooms and good labs, and we try to provide the best with the help we get. And children are coming up well. And these children can speak to anyone in the world now because of visitors coming from here. And they are just coming out of that poverty and then standing up with anyone else in the world. So that is a remarkable change that has happened. Many children have become engineers. Many nurses have come out. And many hotel management people have come out. And accountants and like that, many have come out, and they are so thankful to the Lord and to the people who helped them that they could get good education only through the sacrifice of many, especially many in these areas. And more children flock to us. India education is very much behind we are. And we have to achieve so much more. And there are needy people and needy children everywhere. And once a young boy who had completed his 10th, he came to me. And he told me he wants help from me. You have to help me. He was carrying stones for building material, construction sites, and that is how I earn, and I have gone to the government school. So I asked him, in which language did you study? He said, Hindi. So I told him, though I want to help you, I cannot help you because our children learn in English. And you have learnt in Hindi, it will be very tough for you to shift. And he put his head down, tears streaming from his eyes. And he said, if you don't help, I will go back to carry the stones. That broke my heart. Okay, I will work with you. We will teach you English. And if you can cope up, that is good. So I will give you admission. You will get free education. And we will get a sponsor for him. And he really did well, and he has passed out. So like that, so many orphan children and other children, one-parent children, there are so many.
Yeah, so many single-parent children.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
well,
they're happy.
Yes, so I can imagine her happy, and it's good to see Anathy smile as she tells these stories. Pictures worth 1,000 words, and we're going to get her a picture after we're done here today. But we're talking about the Good Samaritan School in New Delhi, India, with Anathy. She's now Dr. Anathy, the founder, and such humble beginnings. Man, I want to encourage you to go check out the 3 previous programs on our website, hopeishere.today. But also joining us today is Leslie Littrell, and Leslie is with Centenary Methodist Church, and I want to hear it now from an American's perspective. Just tell us about the Good Samaritan School, and I mean, there are so many questions I wanted to ask, but what should people know about this wonderful place and what God's doing there? And I want to make sure people do understand this. They talk about Jesus there, and there's worship and prayer and faith-based, and God's doing some great things there, isn't he, Leslie?
He sure is. It's just amazing. I visited the school this past November. Our family has sponsored children for over 12 years, so when we visited, it was just really special. But what really stood out to me is before we arrived at the school, we were driven around the city, and we were driven through the slums, and we got to see so much poverty, so much congestion. There's so many people in Delhi, and it's just sort of chaotic, and the pollution is so thick that you cannot even see the blue sky. So we drove through that, and then we pulled up to the Good Samaritan School, and it was like a breath of fresh air when you stepped out of the van and onto the school property. There were children standing in front to greet us, singing songs. You stepped in the school, and it was just immaculately clean. It was surrounded by happy students and smiling teachers. We were able to go into the school, and each day they gather on the lawn and worship the Lord. And it just felt like you went from a place of darkness to a place of light. And that was pretty amazing to experience.
Wow. Well, I've seen some video of this. My middle brother Mike went with your group this summer, and it is just amazing seeing, as you said, a breath of fresh air. And one of the things that just really moved me was just watching the children worship through music before school starts and things. Tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, that really was amazing to me. The children line up each morning. There's no auditorium for them to sit in, but they line up, and they praise the Lord through song. And what was so touching is when they sing, they fold their hands and bow their heads, and they sing their praise songs as if it were a prayer. So that was just so amazing to see, really overwhelming to me. It really was.
That was for me. Overwhelming is a great word to describe that,
right.
Because they were worshiping so passionate, and yet, I mean, they were right upon each other. And I know I get embarrassed if there's somebody close to me because I don't sing well, but man, they were just singing with all their hearts, and you wouldn't have an idea that they were coming from the slums.
No, you wouldn't. And the thing that really touches my heart is that in India, less than 3% of the people are Christians. So each day these children come in not knowing the Lord, and each day they are taught Scripture, they are taught to worship, they receive the love of most of the teachers are Christian. They have a values education class where they learn biblical, and even on Sundays at the school they hold a church service where the families, so that's a really amazing part of the school, is that many, many children and families are coming to know the Lord in a country where there are so few believers.
See, we realized that to have the school running, we will need finances which come from the fees from the children. And these children, when we are taking up the slum children, they can never pay the fees.
Yeah, they can't pay.
So there was need to have a setup which will do the fundraising and support this ministry. So in 2004, we could establish Friends of the Good Samaritans right in Lexington. So Tim Philpott, Jess Correll, and then some more people were the founding members of this charity. And through this, we started raising help, sponsorship for the children. And this sponsorship, when it comes, that supports the poor children in all the centers in Delhi and the main school in Delhi. That is how we are able to run the school. So the office works here, and Leslie Little works voluntarily, and Krista Clemens is the director. And so far, up to this stage, Laura Marie, a young girl, she committed her life to raise help, and all these years she was doing the work. And so a group of people and volunteers, and they join hands to support this work. But for that, our children cannot get good education.
Wow, that's so
Education
powerful.
is costly in India.
All right, so for only $40 a month, is that right, Leslie? People can sponsor a child at this school, the Good Samaritan School?
Yes, that is correct. $40 a month covers their education. It gives them the uniforms and books they need. There's a health center at the school, so many of the children who could not get health care receive health care. For the children who cannot bring their lunches or don't get enough nutritionally rich food at home, they receive lunch. So all that for just $40 a month. And our family has sponsored for years. In fact, my daughter just graduated from high school, and she grew up with some girls her age that we sponsored, and they corresponded with letters, and we prayed for the girls. We had their pictures on our refrigerator, and I fully believe that those girls have had a huge influence on my daughter's life. She has developed just a real heart for the poor, and she's spent the last few summers serving the poor in other countries, and really a heart, too, for those who don't know Jesus. So it works both ways. Not only our family was able to provide education, but those girls were teaching my daughter as well, and I'm just so very grateful that she had that opportunity.
Well, it's powerful, and I don't mind. I'm going to commit on the air that I'm going to sponsor a child when we get off there. I've been so moved this week by our programs. My brother went last year, and I saw what it did in his life, and hearing your story, Leslie. So if people are listening, like, okay, I want to find out more about this and possibly be a part of this, what do they need to do?
Okay, you can just get on our website, FOTGS.com. You will see up in the top buttons, and there's one, Sponsor a Child. You just hit that button, and there are many, many children, their faces, their age range, and you can choose a child to sponsor, and we will set you up to sponsor. It's
That's simple. So I'm going to be doing it, and I want to ask you and challenge our listening audience. I know we have podcast listeners in Florida, California, Connecticut, Texas, Arizona, Wisconsin. List goes on and on. So let's be a part of that. Should be the hands and feet of Jesus in New Delhi, India. So go to FOTGS.com and sponsor a child for only $40 a month. They have over 700 children that still need sponsored. So I hope that you'll be the hands and feet of Jesus. I've got to cut us off for today, but I hope you'll join us next time on Hope is Here.
CMI is your full-service human resources provider in Central Kentucky. For 15 years, CMI Human Resources has taken great pride in helping organizations and people work. Whether it's employee handbooks or help in filling a position, no job is too large or too small for CMI. Contact the professionals today at CMI Human Resources, 859-296-2800, or online at cmiconsulting.com.